Imagine a country where it is currently the year 115, not 2026. A place where escaping is punishable by 3 generations of your family being sent to a prison camp. For nearly 80 years, one bloodline has ruled North Korea with absolute, terrifying control. They built nuclear weapons while their people starved. They engineered a cult of personality so powerful that citizens must weep on command or face execution. They are the Kim Dynasty, the most feared family on Earth. And their story isn't just about politics. It's about a family that successfully turned an entire nation into a private prison. The modern world is defined by shifting alliances, democratic elections, and global connectivity. Yet, tucked away in East Asia, one nation remains completely frozen in time, isolated from the rest of humanity by design. This is the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, DPRK, commonly known as North Korea. It is a nation of 26 million people, but it operates as the personal estate of a single family. For nearly 8 decades, the Kim Dynasty has maintained a totalitarian grip on power so absolute, so ruthless, and so terrifyingly complete that it defies comparison in modern history. The story begins in the ashes of World War II. Following the defeat of Japan, the Korean peninsula was carved in two along the 38th parallel, with the Soviet Union occupying the north and the United States occupying the south. To govern their new satellite state, the Soviets selected Kim Il-sung, a young, charismatic guerrilla fighter who had spent years fighting Japanese colonial forces. Installed as the premier of North Korea in 1948, Kim Il-sung immediately set out to build a highly centralized, militarized state. Kim Il-sung was not content with merely being a political leader. He sought to become a god. He engineered a state philosophy known as Juche, an ideology of radical self-reliance that completely cut North Korea off from the outside world. Alongside Juche, the state constructed a massive cult of personality. History was systematically rewritten. Kim Il-sung was designated the Great Leader. Citizens were told that he could control the weather, that he had single-handedly defeated superpower empires, and that his birth had caused flowers to bloom in the dead of winter. Portraits of the Great Leader were legally mandated to hang in every home, school, and workplace, meticulously cleaned every day with a special state-issued cloth. When Kim Il-sung launched the Korean War in 1950 in a failed bid to unify the peninsula, the resulting devastation only deepened the regime's paranoia and brutality. To ensure total loyalty, Kim Il-sung instituted the Songbun system, a rigid social caste system that categorized every citizen based on the actions and loyalty of their ancestors during the war and colonial eras. If your grandfather was a loyal communist soldier, you were placed in the elite class, granted access to education and the capital city of Pyongyang. If your grandfather was a landowner or merchant, you were branded hostile, condemned to a life of hard agricultural labor, and banned from societal advancement. As the decades wore on, the regime's survival depended on an unprecedented apparatus of fear. The state established a network of hidden, brutal political prison camps known as Kwanliso. In these camps, hundreds of thousands of dissidents were worked to death, starved, and tortured. To prevent any thoughts of rebellion, the regime introduced the 3 generations of punishment rule. If a citizen committed a political crime or attempted to flee the country, not only were they sent to a labor camp, but their parents, their spouses, and their children were dragged away with them, ensuring the dissident's bloodline was entirely wiped out or broken within the walls of the camp. In 1994, Kim Il-sung died, triggering an unprecedented event in the communist world, the first hereditary succession of power. His son, Kim Jong Il, ascended the throne as the Dear Leader. Kim Jong Il's reign began in the shadow of apocalypse. Deprived of Soviet economic aid and struck by catastrophic flooding, North Korea plunged into a horrific famine known historically as the Arduous March. Between 1994 and 1998, an estimated hundreds of thousands to millions of North Koreans starved to death. Yet, as ordinary citizens ate tree bark and grass to survive, Kim Jong Il channeled the country's dwindling resources into the military under his Sungun, military-first, policy. He poured billions into developing nuclear weapons and ballistic missiles, realizing that a nuclear arsenal was the ultimate insurance policy against foreign invasion or regime overthrow. While his people withered away, Kim Jong Il lived a life of staggering luxury, importing fine French cognac, flying in elite chefs from Italy and Japan, and maintaining a massive collection of Hollywood films. His obsession with cinema was so deep that he ordered the kidnapping of a famous South Korean film director and his actress wife, forcing them at gunpoint to make movies for the North Korean state. By the time Kim Jong Il's health began to fail, the blueprint for dynastic survival was set. In December 2011, power passed to his youngest son, Kim Jong Un, who was only in his late 20s. The international community initially speculated that the young, Swiss-educated leader might introduce Western-style reforms. They were drastically wrong. Kim Jong Un quickly proved to be just as ruthless, if not more brutal, than his father and grandfather. To solidify his authority, Kim Jong Un initiated a terrifying wave of purges within the regime's elite. Anyone deemed even slightly disloyal or insufficiently enthusiastic was eliminated. In 2013, he shocked the world by arresting his own uncle and mentor, Jang Songthaek, stripping him of all titles and executing him via a firing squad utilizing anti-aircraft guns. 4 years later, in 2017, Kim Jong-un's elder half-brother, Kim Jong-nam, who had spoken out against the dynastic succession, was brazenly assassinated in a Malaysian airport by 2 women who smeared the deadly VX nerve agent across his face, an operation widely attributed to North Korean state agents. Under Kim Jong-un, the Kim Dynasty has successfully transformed North Korea into a recognized nuclear state, testing intercontinental ballistic missiles capable of striking continents away. To fund this massive military apparatus and bypass crushing international sanctions, the regime transformed itself into a global criminal enterprise, engaging in state-sponsored cyber warfare, multi-million-dollar cryptocurrency thefts, and counterfeiting. Today, the Kim Dynasty remains completely unchallenged from within. The psychological conditioning of the population is so deep that generations of North Koreans have grown up knowing no other reality. They are cut off from the global internet, trapped in a closed ecosystem where the supreme leader is to be feared, worshipped, and obeyed without question. The ultimate tragedy of the Kim Dynasty is that it successfully weaponized human nature against itself. By threatening the lives of entire families for the mistake of a single individual, they built a system where survival requires absolute compliance. The greatest dynasty in the modern world did not conquer an empire through foreign invasion. Instead, they took their own people hostage, building an enduring empire of fear that continues to cast a dark, nuclear shadow over the entire world.